as shares continue to rise, what do you see as the total addressable market here in terms of more room to run?
Yeah, that's, Emily, that's actually a hard question to answer because it's incredibly fluid. It doesn't really do us any good to look at what the historical numbers have been, which is what analysts typically do. And the reason that it's so fluid and it's developing so quickly is because a platform like Snowflake is completely variable. There's no upper limit, to how much and how frequently and how fast people can run workloads. So we're often surprised, and you see that in our net revenue retention rates, how quickly our customers are growing in their consumption profile. So it's very hard to speculate for us on, geez, how big is this market will it really be? I mean, data is driving the digital revolution. Data operation is becoming the beating heart of the modern enterprise. Really hard to tell, where this all ends up when it's all said and done.
So that said, what are the adjacent markets that you see? Where are you looking or thinking about expanding?
Well, we're looking to expand in our core markets first and foremost. I mean, we're overcome by the scale and scope of our marketplace. It's not like we're looking for opportunity. Our opportunity is literally unfolding in front of us. I mean, our relationships with global system integrators are all indicating that our pipelines are developing very, very quickly. For one, because people are moving to the cloud. That's one of the long-term secular trends that we're fueled by as well. And then secondly, we're on the phone every single day with large enterprise, and they're like, how do we accelerate our data platforms? How do we actually have data science teams? How do we really drive signal? How do we use data to not just inform people, but to drive business processes? So there's a huge movement afoot to really harness and embrace the power that's presented here.
Now, Snowflake's debut soaring more than 100% on that first day really kicked off this debate about whether IPOs were being mispriced. I spoke to you on the day. You told me at the time you were thrilled. I wonder if, looking back, you've had some time to reflect if there's anything you would have done differently, or that you wish the bankers might have done differently.
Well, it's a lot of people on the financial side of the equation look at these things. They think of an IPO as a transaction. You offer a bunch of shares, and you're trying to extract the highest value of those shares. And it's not that simple for people who are sitting on my side of the table. And the reason is, it's not that different, by the way, when you're a startup company and you're trying to decide who your A series and B series investors are going to be, because these are the people you're going to be sitting around the table with for a long time. And you're looking for people that can build large positions. You're looking for people that want to sign up for 5 to 10 years. You're looking for people who will not chase momentum up or down, because you just simply have no life as a company when you have nothing but momentum players and fast money in your stock. So it's not just about the highest price, it's also about the quality of your institutional ownership.
So do you have any advice for some of the other IPOs, other company CEOs that are coming out of the gate? I mean, it wasn't just Snowflake. We saw it happen with Airbnb and DoorDash.
Well, here's another really important consideration, right? There's such a thing as a price demand curve. Well, what that means is some people are willing to pay way more than other people, but it doesn't mean that your entire offering can be sold at the price that the last 100 shares closed at, right? So it's always an illusion, like, oh, you left billions on the table. Well, that's, first of all, that's unknowable, right? And what you're really seeing is that somebody at the end of the trading day offered up a very high price for a very small number of shares. So don't let yourself go crazy over these things. You need to assemble a very strong institutional ownership, and you do the best price discovery you can on the number of shares that you're going to be selling and offering on that particular day.
Now, we do have the second lockup expiring today, which means company executives like yourself can sell. Can you share with us what your plans are if you plan to sell any shares?
No, executives cannot begin to sell until the March trading window opens or thereabouts. So we are still locked up. Our employees were partially unlocked for a small portion. Back in December, we had another lockup today, as you mentioned, but executives will not be permitted to start selling until the March window opens.
I do want to ask you about this SolarWinds hack, which is still unfolding and potentially rapidly expanding. And, it's certainly kind of terrifying how a software company was basically weaponized. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that as a software company, what the implications are for, companies like yours that are selling to, hundreds of thousands of other companies out there.
We really need to invest, very, very aggressively in mastering your security model. The good news for a company like ours and the scale that we're operating, we're getting penetration tested and audited and reviewed by so many large institutions around there. So in other words, there's an immense amount of scrutiny on the security perimeters that we have in our product, which is a good thing. Where you really run risk is, where enterprises do not have enough critical mass on their security resources to be able to adequately address that risk.